Out of box is going to be virtually anything other than your typical, you know, multifamily. We're going to do a thing: churches, hotels, fast food, C stores, some multifamily, various other aspects. And we've got the best lenders on this panel. They get deals done. They are all making loans. Uh,
I'm not in the right plan. I'm a banker. So
okay.
I better exit this one.
Okay. Thanks for dropping in.
Thank you.
So, Ned Delorum, what are you doing these days? Are you making loans? Are you owning hotels or both? You're muted.
Unmuted. There we go. There's a button there. Great. Hey, no, doing a bit of both. Spending a lot of time on a development in Manhattan Beach, a hotel.
Nice.
Making good progress on putting together the capital stack on that. So that's been fun and amusing at all the same time. Speaking of out of the box, difficult market for development.
Yeah. Across the board, any asset class.
Yeah, but we've figured out a way to piece it together. So yeah, pretty exciting. We're going to do a Hyatt. And
if you look down there, there's David Bowman, and he's a great hotel broker if you don't know him already.
I know David's name, but I don't think we've ever met. We might have met.
We need to meet, Ned.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so that's still occupying a lot of my time, as I said, putting together both the equity and the debt on that. And then of course I have my normal brokerage business. Got some clients throughout the country. I'm financing triple net leased retail. Did a large shopping center a few months back, working on an industrial project, horizontal land development in New Jersey of all places.
Pretty good.
But a great project. So yeah, staying busy, trying to stay out of trouble.
There you go. All right. I'd like to introduce myself and our panel, and then we'll get this kicked off. I'm Craig Sullivan, the founder and president of the California Lodging Investment Conference. I also host an interview show called Click Connect, where we bring in industry leaders. And we really focus on the California hotel market for the show as well, but we do some shows with international guests and national guests as well. And then I am a partner in Akira HG, which is a hotel investment group. I've helped underwrite and close nearly $25 billion worth of hotel assets nationally and internationally. And then I pulled back just to California. Again, I couldn't be happier with this panel. They're all outstanding lenders, and many of them I've known for a number of years. CoStar and Fidelity are sponsors of my conference as well, which will be March 6th and 7th of next year. So let's kick it off. Brad Ross, would you give everybody an introduction, please?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you so much, Craig. Nice to meet you guys or see you guys. I know you already. Brad Ross with Parkview Financial, and we're based here in Brentwood for anyone local, but we're a nationwide construction lender. We're a private equity debt fund, discretionary capital with about 1,000 investors. We're an open-ended fund. We've done over $1 billion of originations in 2021 and 2022. We're not going to even come close to that this year, but we're going to try and end the year strong. But it's been a slow first half, but we actually have ramped up and we're looking for new originations. We really focus on ground up multifamily. We'll do offshoots of that. We'll do a condo deal, we'll do a resi deal, even a couple SFR deals, build to rent, but really focus on residential. Our deals tend to start, in like the $7-8 million range and up from there. Our average is around 30 million. So we do focus on some larger scale product, but we can still do some of the local, 30, 40 unit type deals. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Mike Michi, you're up next.
Good morning, everyone. Mike Michi, Redwood Mortgage. We are a direct private money lender. Our lending areas are primarily the state of California. But we also do commercial loans in the major metro areas of Phoenix, Arizona, Denver, Colorado, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon. We are even doing a couple of deals in the Dallas, Texas area right now. So we're kind of dipping our toes into the Texas pool a little bit. Just to give you some information on Redwood, we've been in business since 1978. So been doing private money for 45 years. We do loan amounts from 200,000 up to about 7.5 million. We will go higher on the loan amount case by case basis. We do both first and second trust deeds. We do a lot of standalone seconds is a good niche of ours. Some other niche products that we offer are we do loans for irrevocable trusts and probate estates. Do a fair amount of those. We do specialty product loans, so we'll do car wash, SROs, we'll do churches, religious centers, event centers, cold storage, self-storage. Out of the box type of deals. We'll do restaurants if there's a mixed use. And we do a lot of mixed use residential with either some retail or office, or in some cases, even restaurants mixed in. We'll do hotels, motels. We don't do a lot of those, but we will do them usually up to about 60 LTV. To go higher than that usually will require cross collateral. And that's about it. We do also do some residential as well as commercial. And great to see everyone. Thanks so much. Hit me up anytime. I'm happy to go over a scenario, and we are actively funding loans.
Thank you, Mike. Does
You're welcome.
everybody know what a funkle is? Okay, that's the fun uncle. And the funkle is the one and only Chuck Hershon. Uncle Chuck, would you tell the audience, or maybe one or two people out there that don't know you that really
Right. Well, good morning. As you can tell by my face, I've only been around 56 years. I've been the founder and now the chairman of Fidelity Mortgage Lenders. Long time. We do every type of loan known to man other than rural land and unfortunately hotels, but we do motels. Our loan range is anywhere from 100,000. We're not a proud company, but we go up to 15 million. What makes Fidelity very unique, we're one of the very few companies that go up to a 2020 fully amortized private equity lender's loan, no prepayment penalties, a couple of points with a fixed rate. We'll also do a 30 due in 15. And we'll do a 5 or 7 year IO, interest only loan. We have no prepayment penalties on any of our loans. So we also probably I'd have to venture to say 60-70% of our loans have no appraisals. I was in Orange County yesterday, beautiful property on Placentia Boulevard. A guy is a detailer. He reconditions cars. We're making a $2.4 million loan on a handshake. I went there, met the broker and the borrower, bada bing, bada bang. I'll close that loan in 10 days or less. We just move fast. And there's nothing fancy about Fidelity other than we get it done. And we also service all our loans. So everything is done in-house. We're a self-contained entity other than we have to use the title company. And we even have our own escrow company. So if any of you people have need for a loan, which is Craig says, out of the box, that is not institutional, come on over to the light side. You call your Uncle Chuck and we'll take care of you.
There we go. Thank you, Uncle Chuck. Andrew Conroy, you're up.
Thanks, Craig. Glad to be here with everybody this morning. Andrew Conroy, I'm a part of CoStar's Lender Services and Risk Analytics team. So a lot of folks know CoStar's data as well as some of our marketing arms. Just last year, we launched our first platform specifically for lenders. And so what we're offering clients the ability to do is to securely connect their commercial real estate loan portfolio to CoStar's data and our credit risk model. And so where it's really helped out is to be able to perform some pretty dynamic portfolio management in real time at the click of a button, and be able to really stay ahead of risks and spend more time assessing those risks versus out collecting information.
Perfect. I appreciate that. James Ritter, Cathay Bank, you're up.
Hi, everyone. I'm James Ritter with Cathay Bank's construction and commercial real estate lending group. I'm just like Uncle Chuck, except we're really picky. We want good locations. We want certain property types. We want very experienced developers. All of our loans have appraisals. We don't move in 10 days. We want a relationship. We want your deposits. But if you are an experienced developer with a good property and a plan that makes sense, we are doing construction loans, bankable construction loans, not hard money. We are getting deals done in this market, come hell or high water, and we're here for you for those types of properties.
Perfect. You know what? I want to start off with construction. So I want to talk to James and Brad for a moment. I know those two guys work together. One of them may not be able to do the deal, the other one can. And that's the other great thing about this group. As a whole, they can help you. If they can't do something, they can refer you on. So, James, how are the current economic conditions changing for a lender right now in this post-pandemic market?
What a great question. So a few years ago, banks were falling all over themselves to try to get business in a hot deal. You could pretty much sort of name your pricing and name your, you had a lot more leverage. In this market, banks are able to and we are being picky. We don't want to be in tertiary markets. We don't want to be with inexperienced developers, and we want a relationship. So there's a lot more focus on bringing in deposits. There's a focus on deposits in general in the banking world right now. Rates are up. Cap rates are also up. So that and the indexes are up, the margins are up. So those two things act to reduce the amount of borrowings, amount of leverage that developers can put into their projects and increase equity.
Okay. James, busted projects. We're seeing a few of those. We've had one in downtown LA for years. Do you guys pick up busted construction projects, or is that just too much brain damage?
No, I mean, we will. We don't have we don't have anything against that, but usually it's busted for a reason. Oh, hello. Hi, Chris.
Hi, sorry, I'm having massive problems.
Can you mute yourself? Thank you, Chris. Go ahead, James.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it's busted, there are narrow cases where it's busted for reasons that are fixable, and we can, redirect it, reposition it, or do something, fresh injection of equity. But often it's a market mismatch or demands gone away from that. If it's an office building, I don't know what you can do with it, absent like a huge public works project where you invest a bunch of money into these kind of things. If you have one, send it to me. I will look at it.
There you go. James, typically, what's your loan to cost ratio on a construction loan?
We're about 65% loan to cost against total costs, including bank financing and all that. That's about where we're at. Sometimes we have to pull it back to 60, and other times we can stretch a little more.
Are you doing continuing guarantees? And if you are you
Yes.
putting them off at certain milestones through the construction period?
Yeah, it's always negotiable, but I mean, construction starts out at full recourse. It's usually full recourse. For larger developer groups, maybe there's a burn off if they hit certain, leasing, depends on what the project is, right? So if it's leasing, it's a leasing hit. If it's a condo, it might be a benchmark on sales, that kind of thing.
Perfect. Brad, Parkview Financial, I've watched your company grow for I don't know how long, but what does your company have for a unique program in the private equity arena?
Well, I think the thing that makes us really unique right now is that we are lending. It is really interesting out there. There is as a friend yesterday told me, like, it doesn't matter what's going on in the markets. Developers are going to develop. They'll figure out a way to scrap and claw and try and get their project going.
Yeah.
So when I run the math, I don't think there's any way that a lot of these projects pencil today. Yet the loan requests keep hitting the email inbox, and people are trying to scrap these things together. What James failed to mention as he was saying how off-putting his whole program is that it's got great pricing, compared probably to me. So
I'm busy.
yeah, so he's been busy. The problem I'm facing, we can go up to 75% loan to cost.
Okay.
But how do I do that deal when it doesn't pencil for the refi? Because when you throw the 6% perm rate on a 30-year amortization, to hit a 120 or 125 debt service coverage ratio for the takeout, I can only give them 60%. I'm constrained by what their exit looks like. So I tell people I don't have to care about the DSCR ratio, but I do want to know if you're thinking about it. So I just had a call where it was like, hey, your own underwriting, you're at a 1-1. You can't take me out. What's your plan? And he was like, I don't know. I hope the markets get better.
That's what you want to hear.
I said, thanks, but no thanks. So, I don't know. I think we're seeing deals that need more equity. We're seeing the common equity, kind of play more in the opportunistic pref space. And what we're providing to actually answer your question, sorry, I rambled, but what we're providing is we are a whole loan, discretionary, one-stop shop, vertically integrated construction lender that can close a loan and get you going with, no red tape. We've got our own construction team. We got our own capital, and we just, get it done. But it's probably 300, 400 basis points over James' program. I might be more expensive than Chuck, but ultimately it's basis driven, and we can get you built faster, which is kind of the appeal.
There you go. Continuing guarantees. Are you burning those off at milestones? You already said.
Yeah, we are generally non-recourse with completion guarantees and interest and carry guarantees and bad boys, of course. But really, the deal for us, we've never pursued any kind of bad boys or recourse. It's like, if you're not going to get it done, get out of the way and let us get it done. We can build it if we have to. Luckily, that has not come up. We've got a good track record there, but we're not so concerned about the guarantees. We're more concerned about the project and the basis.
Perfect.
Although I will say, in this cycle, we got borrower problems, not real estate problems.
Yeah, good point. Mike Michi, let's hear something about your specialty programs. You've got churches, you got hotels, motels, car washes. I think you're doing C-stores as well and various other asset classes. What do you got going there?
Yeah, so yes, all of the above. So I'd say kind of our sweet spot is we like cash flowing deals. So like everybody does. But we'll look at we like car washes or cash cow type of properties are a good fit for us. We'll do the hotels and motels, even the smaller ones, not the flag hotels, the ones that are mom and pop, but generate good income, have recovered from COVID, and are starting to get some traction now. So I'd say where we're finding a good niche too is we'll go a little longer on the term than a lot of private money lenders. A lot of private lenders right now only want to go 12 or 24 months because they want to turn and burn their capital. Whereas we'll play the longer game. We'll go in it for a 3 or a 5 or even 10-year term. So we're seeing some action in that space as well. Not seeing a lot of like SRO or assisted living. We tend to stay away from those unless it's really sweet deal. But we'll even dip our foot into the land and development pool a little bit. Right now our land portfolio is pretty full, but if it's an urban infill and good location, LA, Orange County, San Diego, Bay Area, or Phoenix, one of the major metro areas, we'll do it. We'll go up to 40, in some cases 50 LTV, and up to about 7 or 8 million on land plays as well.
Now, your typical, let's say you've got a motel that's coming in, it's 80 keys, running, at 85% occupancy, and it's got a great RevPAR index. Typically, what's your loan on that? Is it 65? Is it 85%? Somewhere in between?
Now we're going conservative. I'd say we're probably in the 60 to 65 range, somewhere in there. And if the property's not cash flowing well, usually what we'll do is we'll look at the global cash flow. I mean, bottom line is we just want to make sure that they can service the debt. And in some cases, we don't do an interest reserve. We'll just do prepaid interest payments. So we structure that into the deal sometimes where, maybe 12 months worth of extra cash flow will help the principal out. And so we'll structure that in the deal. We've even done 24 months of prepaid payments if there's, the circumstances warranted, there's enough equity in the property. So we can get creative, or we can cross multiple properties to free up more equity and more cash if they need it. So that's kind of our sweet spot is just in that out of the box, type of thinking. And hey, we're in it to try and make the deal work. It just has to make sense, of course.
Absolutely. Uncle Chuck, I know it's a pulse and an SI, and that's all the paperwork that you need. So
I'm listening to Steve. Oh, I got on mute.
yeah.
Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Uncle Chuck.
Yeah. I'm not interested in cash flow. Get that straight. You mentioned car washes. You're going to run the car wash if God forbid, you got to take it back. It's a labor intensive business. There's a lot of things. If you're talking about the little guy, the smaller one where you self wash, that's a whole different story. Same thing with churches. We don't listen. It's the property is the security of the loan, period. We're at the Stephen is Michael's pretty conservative, but we'll only go 50-55% max on loans. Now I've done some loans at 60, and I did a oh, by the way, I was remiss, we do cannabis loans, and we did a cannabis
Me too.
loan, phenomenal property in Long Beach. We went 65%. Never done a 65% loan in my life, but this place was like the 23rd century as far as cannabis growers. Never seen an operation like this in my life. Anyway, make a long story short, we made a $6 million loan on that property, and the guy sold it for about 13. So it worked out really well. But security of the real estate is it, period. We'll also do infill lots. We've just did an industrial lot. But all we'll do is run a FICO score on the borrower. That's going to tell me, is the guy a flake or this? And if the guy's got a real low FICO score, let's say he's in a 500 or the low 600, whatever, I'll just reduce my loan to value. And that's what we do. But now in churches, we'll go 35% loan to value because they're having a problem with tithing. They're not collecting much money right now. And the only churches we'll do, if we're talking about churches, it's got to be in a great location, you know, on a major thoroughfare. And we do the restaurants. We do every kind of real estate there is. Retail, we're heavy in industrial and retail. Offices, we'll do offices too, but you got to analyze them and have an exit strategy, and that's the name of the game. So, but we are heavy in cannabis. So if you got some smoking deals, send them over to Chucky. We'll take care of it.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Well,
Hey.
I don't think anybody wants to foreclose on God either. So, you know, it's like, wait a minute.
By the way, we're servicing right now 514 loans, about 270 million. We don't have one foreclosure. Not
Nice.
one.
Congratulations.
First time, I mean, in a long, long time. Amazing.
That's great, Uncle Chuck.
Yeah. I'm very
Congratulations.
Hey, Craig, I should say Cathay Bank also has a marijuana related business lending policy. So we're not totally unhip. We can't lend to people who are involved in actually doing the product, but you know, landlords that are separate from their tenants. It is possible with all the proper licensing and the checks and balances and all that to get a loan on a property that's related in the cannabis business. So,
That's great to know. Now, I got to take it a step farther, James. Is it actually on Cathay Bank paper, or is
Yes.
there a secondary company that just does that?
nope, it's Cathay Bank paper as long as you're like, I think it's called tier 2, which is like indirect. We have, you know, there's a lot of due diligence on it, but yeah, we can do it.
Okay.
I think I know what they did to incentivize Chuck to go to 65 LTC.
Good answer. Good answer, Brad. Andrew, you're a recovering banker. So tell us about your platform and how that's going to help all of the lenders, not only in this room, but you know, in the entire conference, please. I'm loving that you can stress test an asset. You don't necessarily have to take that class out to say an Alan Ray at Atlas Hospitality, who's the #1 hotel broker in the state, to look at everything in your hotel portfolio. You can do it now with, you know, a couple of keystrokes and you're off to the races. Is that correct?
Yeah, yep, absolutely, Craig. And so, you know, really what we've been able to do with being able to connect clients' commercial real estate loan portfolios to all the CoStar property data and the credit risk model is really be able to streamline a lot of these processes. So, you know, one pain point with a number of clients that I've been talking to recently is annual reviews. You know, obviously this year transaction volumes are down pretty heavily. And, you know, in absence of going out and getting a new appraisal, folks are trying to figure out a way to be able to value these properties. And so within the CoStar lender platform, you have the ability to see what the DSCR and LTV looks like at the portfolio level, as well as the loan level, the ability to stress those different aspects, as well as the value and NOI on properties. So it's a really holistic platform from a portfolio management aspect. And then, you know, CoStar Suite are really our flagship product, has a lot of great information when it comes to helping out on the origination side. And, you know, obviously everybody's pretty familiar with our comps data and things along those lines, but kind of the latest and greatest is definitely on the lender platform, and just being able to get a little more granular and utilize that credit model that, you know, it's got over 18 years of history there, most mature in the industry, and been through multiple cycles, has been validated hundreds of times, and has never failed validation.
Hi, Renee, can you mute yourself, please? Okay. Thank you. Go ahead, Andrew.
No, I was just saying that it's certainly been helpful for clients as they are trying to sort out where values are or staying ahead of upcoming risks. And, a lot of the information that goes into the model, of course, is top class, being on the CoStar side of things. So being able to combine that with a model that traditionally has really been utilized by some of the largest banks in the world and has been in a desktop format, we've been able to implement that onto the platform and really achieve economies of scale and be able to work with folks of all shapes and sizes from a lender standpoint.
Perfect. I got to tell you, is a longtime user of CoStar comps and various other information products that they have. They're just absolutely outstanding, and they also have STR for the hotel side as well.
If
So,
I might, Craig, we also use CoStar. We've been with CoStar since the Jurassic period.
yeah. Was that when messengers had carried the documents?
Well, that was my era. But have you been discounting, the values, Andrew? Because, since things got a little hairy with the banks and everything, and a lot of them are not lending, I see values have dropped somewhat, not a whole lot, but there's definitely I've noticed that the borrowers still think it's paradise, and I've got to tell them your property ain't worth what it was a year ago. Have you been discounting, sort of? I mean, do you put that in your metrics?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of what's driving these metrics, both from a value and an NOI perspective for the lender product, is going to be sub-market observations of cap rates. And so if we're looking at a multi-tenant retail building in Los Angeles, we can go ahead and utilize some sub-market level information and be able to basically triangulate how cap rates have performed over a number of years and be able to bring some of those values current, or those NOIs current, without having to get an additional appraisal and things along those lines. And so to answer your question, we have been seeing values coming down a bit. We have seen cap rate expansion a little bit, and all of that data that we collect at the property level and with sales comparables flows right into the model. So that's reflected in that manner. And then we also utilize Oxford Economics for our forecast scenarios. And so they have, I think, about a half dozen scenarios that we can utilize, whether you want to see what moderate upside would look like, a severe downside, a severe recession. And they give some information on what the macro outlook would look like in these different scenarios. And then we're able to basically connect the dots with our commercial real estate data and be able to show clients where some risks may lie ahead if some of these different scenarios come to fruition.
Great, thank you.
It's interesting. For years and years, you look at the CoStar comps, and you look at the closest comp. Let's say it's 400,000 a unit. You'd say, well, that building's 2 years old, and this one's going to have better amenities, so mine's probably worth 425 or 450. Today, it's like, okay, that one was 400, so I know it's below that. That was the high water mark. Maybe we'll land at 350, 375.
Yeah, and Brad, that's what I'm running into in so many conversations today is, I think everybody's been able to, I won't say cruise control, but it's been a little simpler as we're underwriting or doing those reviews on an annual basis, on a biannual basis. And, when everything's going up and to the right, everything's looking rosy and everyone's feeling good. But as we start to hit some turbulence here, I think everybody's trying to make sure they've got their arms around their current portfolio and understand where some risks may lay ahead.
There you go. Yeah, I want to ask all the lenders the same question. And Brad, let's start with you. What areas does your company do business in?
So we're nationwide, and I don't know how many of you guys know our CEO, Paul Rahimian. I know Chuck and James do. You got the B team today, so sorry. But he started this as single family, lender in the GFC. I think he was sitting next to Chuck on an all-star panel and said, these guys are all bridge lenders. I need to launch construction. So he started doing local SFR. And today we've done a third of our portfolio is in the tri-state, New York, Jersey, Connecticut area. We're a third everywhere else and a third in California. So we like primary markets. We like secondary markets. We're in Birmingham, Alabama. We're in Tacoma, Washington. We'll go out there quite a bit.
Michael, what areas are you doing business in?
So Redwood's primarily state of California. I'd say that's probably 95% of our business. But we have recently expanded out. We closed a couple deals in the Phoenix, Arizona metro area. We're also lending in Denver, Colorado, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon. We're looking now into like Dallas and Houston, major metro areas in Texas. But other than that, we're really like, we're not doing any deals on the East Coast. We're not lending in Florida or New York, Jersey, any of those areas. So pretty much primarily major cities on the West, in the West Coast, and then also now in Texas.
Uncle Chuck?
Yeah, Fidelity, we're also heavy in California naturally, but we're getting a license and I've been doing loans in Nevada, Las Vegas. My product, I can increase my business 15 to 20% once I get licensed in Las Vegas and Henderson. I mean, that market's wide open.
Yeah.
What's really interesting about Nevada, to get licensed there, they have some of the strictest damn laws you've ever seen in your life. You know, you think it's a wide and woolly town. Well, let me tell you, in the to get licensed in Las Vegas, it's an expensive proposition, and it's not fun and games, but we're doing it, and it's costing me a bundle, but it'll more than pay off. We've done a lot of big cannabis loans there. We've done a lot of medical office buildings there, but nobody has our product there. So we'd love to kick ass there. We're also in Texas, all the Western states, you know, start from Washington, Oregon, you know, we could do Texas. We don't do Arizona. You know, Michael, I commend you because the brokers in Arizona, they're lunatics. They charge 12, 14%, and they're going up to 80% loan to value. I don't know how you can write a loan there, and I commend you if you can write a loan there. These guys there, boy, I'm telling you. So we got a lot of Arizona.
We keep the LTVs in the 60 or less range in Phoenix for sure.
But watch yourself, please. And so all the Western states, all the trust deed states. And we've done a couple of deals in New York on real cherry deals. It's a mortgage state. We've done Hawaii, which is it's really strange. They do mortgages and they do trust deeds. It's sort of a weird hybrid situation there. But you would know, Craig. And by the way, a shout out from my Craig. You know, when we do motels, we don't do hotels per se. But you know, the first thing I do is I call up to Craig. I got a 30-unit motel. It's in Anaheim, bada bing, bada bang. What's the value? And I'll get a damn good accurate figure. Then I'll go get, if I feel that there's enough meat on the bone for us, then I'll get the appraisal. But Craig is a fabulous resource for that arena. And it's great that we're all resources for one another to work together and, you know, experience. Because I know if people call me, I give them the emis. You know, I don't spare the change. I'll let you know what I think.
Absolutely. Thank you, Uncle Chuck. James Ritter, same question. What areas are you lending in?
Well, my team focuses on Southern California. So we're Valencia, Ventura County, all the way down to San Diego. But we have teams in Las Vegas, Seattle, Dallas, Houston for the West Coast, and then Chicago, New York, New Jersey, and Boston. So we've got teams in those areas, and we do. I'll bring them in to a deal if it suits those locations.
Perfect. James and Brad, I want to stick with you for another moment on construction. What issues should developers be preparing themselves for when they're seeking new financing in the environment that we find ourselves today?
Brad, oh, you want me to go?
Yeah.
Sure. So a couple issues. I think from the start, experience is key. We've seen a lot of deals get delayed during COVID, post-COVID by unavoidable cost overruns, and so we focus on experience, people who can handle those kind of things, who can handle zoning issues with subterranean parking. So we're looking for experience with the property type that you're bringing, not with other smaller properties. Banks are definitely, as I said, focused on deposit relationships. I would earmark at least 10% of the loan balances would be a target for where you want to be in terms of bringing deposits to a bank. We want to see liquidity from, it can go down from there, but that's kind of where things are targeted at, maybe higher on a bigger deal. And then, liquidity, post-closing liquidity is key. We don't want to be lending money into a deal where the developer is a pauper at the end of it. So, you need to have some wherewithal afterwards. Can't put all of your money in one basket. And then, the ramifications of a market in which cap rates are high and lending rates are high, means you're going to need to bring equity to the table that you wouldn't have otherwise. And that's the thing that I think kills most deals, is just penciling out how much equity you need in this market compared to what you thought you needed when you started. So those are my things.
What are the cap rates?
It depends on where you are. Who knows? We need David Rosenthal. But in some cases, it doesn't matter. Like an office deal, I don't care what the cap rates are. I'm not doing it. Multifamily is held pretty strong. Actually, I haven't seen a deterioration in multifamily in Los Angeles. I don't know if anybody else has seen that in their appraisals, but tends to be around 4.5% still for a Los Angeles multifamily deal. I don't know. Has anybody done any recent appraisals and seen cap rates shift? I think in the secondary markets, I'm seeing, things going to the 6s and things like that.
I think we're generally underwriting like a 5.25 on ground up multi. But it might be a little conservative, but it's a good place to err on the side of caution.
What advice you give your new clients, Brad?
Yeah, so I think to piggyback off James there, and I kind of already touched on the service, the takeout issue.
Yeah.
One thing that we're seeing is discussions with the borrowers over the size of the interest reserve that's necessary, which ultimately affects the budget and how much equity, just like James was saying. If you say, hey, I'm going to be done in 18 months, I'm going to take you out in 20 months and the SOFR curve's going to, go way down, then you don't need a very big interest reserve. But if you say that we're stuck at 5% federal funds rate for a while or 6 or whatever, and it's construction, so it's going to take you 24 or 30 months. Well, you need a couple million extra bucks, and we'd like you to bring that in now. Or you're welcome to buy a cap, but that's not very attractive either. So the question I end up posing to the borrower is, you would like to delay bringing in your equity as long as possible, and potentially even walk the tightrope to never have to bring it in. But you're asking us to take that risk.
Right.
Right. I have the next deal that's going to come in. I don't have to take that risk. So why am I going to do your deal today? And that's when they hang up on me.
This rude thing started as soon as we got out of lockout.
I think I said half kidding. I don't think they've officially hung up on me yet, but I'm like, look, it is what it is. And we're going to, you're willing to pay the freight if we can hit the leverage, right? So is this a great project or not? Is there a guy who can problem solve this or not? If we're identifying the risks, what do you got for me? Like, have you thought this through? And if you have, let's talk. We'll probably quote you.
There we go. Love it. Okay, guys, we're down to 15 minutes. Now, I like to close these panels with hero stories where our panelists have saved the day. And a lot of you I know, and I've seen you in action or your company in action and able to close these deals. Uncle Chuck, you're going to be my closer, so you're going to go last. But Andrew, I want to start with you. I imagine with your products, you're able to save the lenders a lot of time and be the hero in that story. So why don't you give us a quick couple of minutes and then we'll move on to Mike Michi after that.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. So I'll just kind of talk about one regional bank that I've been working with. They've been with CoStar for a few years. They started off getting the origination team licensed, and as they've continued to acquire more banks and grow their AUM, I had a discussion with their deputy chief credit officer who let me know that they were starting to outgrow their in-house stress testing system. And so traditionally they've done a pretty simplified stress test where they're stress testing by X amount of basis points on cap rates, on interest rates. And so they were saying, we're looking for something a little bit more multifaceted where we can take into account multiple factors, macro factors, things along those lines. And so after we did, an evaluation that, probably lasted almost 3 months, got a number of different team members involved, and, ultimately was able to get those folks on board with the lender product. Normally we can turn around an implementation in about 10 business days after we get a clean file with the commercial real estate loan information. And so now as those folks ready for a regulatory review, and in a few months here, they've got really the most dynamic portfolio management tool available in the market at their fingertips. And they're very easily able to, in addition to being able to show up their expertise in the stress testing side of things, break down some different areas of concentration risk that might be a bit concerning, be able to get an estimate of credit losses, amongst other things. And so was a great success, and that client is feeling pretty good about the implementation and where they are now from a portfolio management standpoint.
Thank you, Andrew. Michael.
So I'd say one of the more recent deals where I earned my Purple Heart, so to speak, was on it was a purchase deal. Broker was with City National Bank right up until the end, and then they pulled the plug on them at the last second. It was a pretty strong borrower too, which I'm surprised they did, but we had about 6 days to close, and unlike Uncle Chuck, Redwood Mortgage is not known for closing really fast, but we came through 6 business days, and we got the deal done from start to finish and closed it. Got the deal done for the broker, got the client into the property, and everybody was doing backflips. So I'm happy to report a positive outcome on that. And then another deal we did recently was on a large office deal, which I know you're probably all thinking, why would you even entertain a large office deal? But was for office condo conversions. We came in, borrower had to close within like a 2.5 week period, got the deal done. Was able to draw on the note where they would do like a partial pay down as they sold each of the individual office condo units, which that's what they were doing, was converting the primary office to office condos because they were bleeding money, pretty badly on the property. So we were able to come in, get the deal done in 2.5 weeks, and save the day.
That's great, Michael. Don't you love the banks?
Hey,
They tell you.
well, I mean, banks are my best friend. When they turn them down, I stole Barry Judas's old tagline, and it's on all my emails. Great place to go when the bank says no.
Right.
There you go.
Right
Hey,
on.
Brad, why don't you pick up the same question, please?
Yeah, the one that definitely comes to mind locally here also is we just did back in the fall the construction financing for the San Pedro Harbor
Nice.
for Rakovich Company in Jericho. I don't know if you guys have ever been down there to there's the fish outlet, and you know, they spent years on this project. And, you know, I got the call from the broker, and, you know, I love the sponsorship, and it's obviously an iconic area in LA, but you're talking about a retail construction deal on the water, on a ground lease. And oh, by the way, they wanted to use a big paste component. And I'm like, thanks, but no thanks, you know? But they kept calling, and they kept kind of structuring it until I was like, God, I can't say no. I got to look at this. And what we ended up doing was a $35 million construction loan behind $50 million of pace on a $100 million. Chuck, stay with me. Stay with me.
Good shock.
Behind, it was about $100 million cap stack,
Yeah.
not including the city components. They put hundreds of millions in just into the site before we ever, I think it was about 100 million before anyone put in any money. Rakovich put in like 30 million. Pace went in the way we structured it. And this is the kicker. We're the last dollars in. So we committed our 35 million, but we don't fund a dollar until everything, all the crazy stuff is done. And
Nice.
we fund the retail construction, you know, just steel
Yeah.
and TIs and leasing commissions. So we don't fund for about 18 months. And we underwrote the pace in front of us as debt. And usually you'll see a deal with, you know, hey, it's 20 million, we're going to use 2 million of pace. Well, they flipped that on its head. And there's so much money ahead of us with such great partners, with such support of the city, with a perfect structure, you know, that we just couldn't say no. And we closed it last fall, and they're well underway. Forever.
Nice. Nice. James Ritter.
Hi. Wow. Sometimes I think just staying open is kind of a hero play right now. But you know, I have another office project that we did. Borrower bought a large, like 160,000 square foot, 170,000 square foot office, you know, corporate headquarters, and they had some expensive purchase money on it. So we took that out and provided like a $25 or so million reno note on top of the takeout in order to reposition it as a medical campus. So it really made sense. It was very close to a medical center that had no, you know, it was boxed in by all the surrounding sort of property uses. So there wasn't any space for, you know, medical groups to move in. So this one really, you know, in a negative office environment, this made tons of sense as medical office if you get them through the transition. Provided an additional 5 with pre-leasing benchmarks in order to upgrade, you know, HVAC and all sorts of systems to, you know, LEED level or higher level.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a really nice project, and you know, difficult to get done, but I think it's well positioned in the market. Developers very experienced in this, has done it a number of times, knows all of the major surgical groups and all the imaging groups, everybody who you need to put into a place like this in order to have the synergies that bring all the doctors. So that one was that's my win.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Funkle Chuck.
Yo, I schlepped down to Newport Beach. This is about a month ago.
You didn't call me for lunch?
No, well, you hear the story and you'll know why. So it's a retail on Old Newport Road.
Yeah.
And it's one building split in half. They lease half of it, and my borrower's in one half. So I go, and they have parking right in the front, about 10 spaces. All right. So this was referred by an SBA broker to me, who I've known for about close to 30 years. make a long story short, I walk into this place and you'd swear it was like Santa's workshop. Here's these old ditties or biddies, these women, they must have averaged 80 years of age, 4 of them. And they're working and doing, it's like Santa's workshop. And I'm looking at this. And the woman comes, I said, who's this Corky? She says, I'm the borrower. And I said, fine. And what do? They make backpacks, and they make the jackets for the lifeguards in Newport Beach, but they make backpacks. And they are all busier than heck. So what happened there, they had and I've never seen anything like this, they had an SBA, what is that, a 504 or something? That was an adjustable SBA loan. Whoever that broker was should have been shot, because they started out in the 3% range, and every time the prime went up 1/4%, their interest rate went up, I don't know, 2%, 3%, whatever. It was 10.75% when I went out there. And here we're going to have a rate increase probably next month in July, and maybe one more this year. So, and the payment keeps on going up with these women, and they're like in bad shape. Well, I love these people so much. I made them a loan I would never do again. I made them a 9% loan. I was going out there right 10.75. You know, I wrote them a 9% loan. I reduced their monthly payment by about $900, and I gave it to them for 5 years. So we figure in 5 years, God willing, this particular SBA lender can refi me out. It doesn't matter because I've got a lot of equity in this property. But it was a real fun experience, having a lot of laugh with these older ladies. They're all, as I say, around 80 years of age. You know, my people, 80 years. So it was great to be. And as I say, I got emotionally involved, and I gave them a real good deal. And guess who funded it?
You did.
My investors wouldn't take an 8% loan or 7.75. So I funded it. But they were lovely people. And when you see people like that, they deserve a break. And so that was my good deed for the last fiscal year, not this year. I don't know, I might get another good one. Anyway.
Love it, Uncle Chuck. Thank you very much. I want to thank all of you. Terrific panel. James, Brad, Michael, Andrew, and Uncle Chuck. Thank you all very much. This has been a lot of fun. You know, reach out to our panelists. They'd love to hear from you. They would love to work with you. And if they can't help you, they can refer you to somebody that can. Like I said at the top of the hour, this is the best panel all day. These are the guys that are looking and thinking, and their strategy to get that loan closed. These guys are about saying yes to you. If the deal makes sense, maybe if it doesn't, but you know, they're going to work with you. So I appreciate everybody being here. We're down to our last 2 minutes. So thank you all. I know that Arnie's going to turn this off shortly. And Michael, at that point, you can go ahead and stop recording. Does anybody have a question of the panel or me?
I just wanted to say it was a pleasure meeting all the guys, and I see some familiar faces. Effie, how's my Effie doing? And I know that boy chick for a long time. So it's just a nice panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Chuck. All right. Well, that's it. You know what? You can go back to the main room. There's probably going to be some people in there already or about ready to move everybody over there because the individual panels are going to shut down and we'll have some networking time. I'm Craig Sullivan, the host of Click Connect and the California Lodging Investment Conference. If you've got a question about hotels, give me a call. You can reach me at 949-500-8300. and I can get you in touch with everybody on this panel as well. I thank you all very, very much for joining us today. Be kind, share your knowledge, and go be amazing.